Alright, so here we have the title text and the header text and the body text as well. So the first one up here is the header, then we have the title right above it, and then the body is all of this area here. So now I'll put the header on 2.5 and press OK. Then we'll go over to the Annotate tab, then here open up the text settings, make a duplicate here, and we'll name a new one, for example, schedule header text. So SC short for schedule, then header text. Alright, after that press OK and put the background on transparent. Then change the color to orange, for example, and the text size on 4. Then OK. Then we'll go over to the appearance in the schedule properties and put the header text on schedule header text and then OK. And this is what it looks like. After that, we'll go back to the Annotate tab and open up the type properties, and here put the type on schedule header text. Then put the text size on 6 and OK. So now this is what it turns out like. Let me just create a new sheet here, then select the estimation of the consumption of columns and drag it and place it here in the new sheet. And then when it's applied, we can see the changes that we've made really come into play in this view. Then I'll close the 3D view and I'll just minimize these two tabs and put them next to each other. There we go. Then let's go back here in the schedule properties and over to the formatting tab. Then here I'll select all of the fields here and put the heading orientation on vertical. So now they'll be placed like this in the sheet. Now I'll select this new sheet, the dimensions of it. I'll increase them so we can see them clearly. Alright, and then we'll do the same for this side as well. So select it and drag it towards this part to increase the size. Alright, then using the tab views option, I'll hide this for now. Then I'll select this and split the rows from the middle and then put them next to each other. So it doesn't exactly fit in one sheet, so we can put them in two sheets. So I'll go over here and then we can actually divide the exact number that we desire to something that gets us the exact view that we want. Alright, let's see what we have here. Let's go over to the schedule properties and then I'll create a new parameter here, which I'll name, for example, ID. Then it's going to be under the common discipline in the text and identity data. Here I'll select the edit tooltip and then I'll write an explanation for the parameter. This is just sort of an 8 on the side, which gives us some explanation about the parameter. I'll just write in this parameter is used to separate the columns in the placement inside the sheet. Alright, and then after I'm done typing that, hit OK and then OK here as well. Then I'll select the field and move it to the first row and then OK. And if you actually take a look at the rows here, this is what they turn out like. So now I'll go over here and select this first empty bracket and then I'll scroll all the way down to the middle and then hold shift and click here. Let's go over to the sorting tab again, put the sort by option on none and then check the two boxes on the bottom and then hit OK. Alright, now scroll up and click on this bracket. Let's see, now let's go back to the sorting tab, but this time we'll go over to the filters and put this on none so it shows all of the elements. Alright, so once again we'll click on this bracket, then scroll down to the middle of the list and then shift plus click on this part. Alright, now we can go over to the 3D. So when we select these over here in the schedule, they automatically get selected in the 3D view as well. So now we can go over to the identity data section and put the ID on A and then hit apply. I think the file's a bit heavy and that's why it's taking a bit of time. Now let's go back over to the schedule chart. Then we'll select this bracket and pull this all the way down to here. All right. Then we'll go over to the 3D view. Let's see. And we'll go back to the identity data again, but this time put the ID on B. Then hit apply. All right. So let me just rotate this to the front view. Now if we want to select them somewhat close to the exact figure, we can do this actually in the 3D by clicking and dragging. For example, I'll click on this part and then drag all the way up to around the middle of the plan. Doesn't need to be exactly the 50% of the plan, just about 50. Alright, then I'll go over here and from this menu I'll select the analytical columns, structural columns, and after that we'll put the ID on A and then apply. Alright, and then I'll go to the plan and select from this middle part all the way to the top floor and put the ID under B. Using this method may be a bit easier. Alright, so after that we'll go over to the menu here and this time select structural columns. They're right here, and then put the ID on B. There we go, and then hit apply. And the ID parameter that we've created here just acts as an aid, and we don't actually need to see it in the estimates. We'll just use it for the categorization. So now head over to the schedule and do all of the processes again. So in the filters, put this under type and has a value. Then under the sorting tab, I'll uncheck this box and put this on base level and then type. Alright, then OK. And this is what it turns out like. So now I'll right click on the estimates and select the rename option, and this time we'll name it, for example, A. Let me just edit this, so dash space A, then space and dash again. After that I'll go over to the filters tab in the schedule properties, and this time under the and I'll select ID and it equals A. After that I'll hit OK, and then if we scroll down the menu we can see what it exactly looks like. So now that we have the ID equals A, we don't actually need to see ID itself, so we'll go over to the formatting tab and hide the ID. Alright, then I'll create a duplicate of the estimate itself. Then I'll delete the part in the title that says copy, then change the A to B, and then after that we'll go over to the filters tab again, this time ID equals B. Okay, so now we can go over to the schedule, and now we have the sheet right next to it that we can use. I'll select the new one and drag it over here so that we can join the two of them up. Cancel, select this once again, and then drag it over here, and there we go. Now I'll split this down the middle and put the rest of it right next to it. Let's move it down a bit, and we'll just zoom in to see if we can decrease any dimensions of the plan to fit this perfectly. Alright, so select this, then this one, and this goes here, and after that we'll go over to the next sheet. At this time I'll select the B column and drag it over here. So if you have a long list, you can split it up down the middle like this. Now for the new chart, I can do this as well and split it down the middle and then change the dimensions of each part. So select these and then decrease their size so it can fit inside of the sheet. So this goes here, and all right. So we can get the estimates of all of the parts like this. Now the beams and the other elements are separate.